Welcome to our Arkansas Association of Family and Consumer Sciences Spring Annual Conference. This year's theme is Working Together Through Local and Global Connections. We hope that you will enjoy the educational sessions that have been planned for you. I'd like to thank all of our colleagues who've been busy planning, and we hope that you will take this opportunity to connect with professionals and students and network to move our profession forward through advocacy, research, teaching, and of course, all disciplines of our family and consumer sciences professionals. I thank you for allowing me to serve as your president. I have truly enjoyed my experience. And it gives me even more great pleasure to pass the torch to your next president-elect, my colleague, who is an amazing person and a wonderful leader. Your next president-elect, my colleague and friend, Ms. Tiki Winston, who will now come and preside over our meeting. Thank you. Please receive her as she comes. Thank you so much.
This session of the Arkansas Affiliate of Family and Consumer Sciences is called to order. My name is Tiki Winston, and I'm the Director of 4-H Youth Programs here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and I'm also an instructor in the Department of Human Sciences. Thank you. And co-advisor along with Dr. Wheat for our Human Sciences Club. So, welcome again to Pine Bluff and the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff and to our Human Sciences Department. We thank you so much for coming. Yesterday we had a great time. The students had domestic violence awareness, as well as we had a great speaker, Ms. Rachel Shitnell, that talked to us about overcoming food waste and gave us great ideas and great ways of how to minimize our food waste. So today we are in for a treat. We continue with making connections, local and global connections. And coming up next is one of our students. We have many talented students. One of our students, Ms. Cathy Young, who is an author and an artist. She has written several books, and she's currently a student here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And I'm going to let her tell her story and how this connects with how the caged bird found her song as a domestic violence survivor's story. Without further ado, Ms. Cathy Young.
So I wanted to give you just a little bit more detail about our next speaker. Of course, you all talked to me yesterday. I'm Dr. Marilyn Baylor Jefferson, and let me just tell you a little bit about Ms. Cathy Young. First of all, I just adore her as a student. She hails from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and as Ms. Winston stated, she is an author. She's an artist. She is an aspiring, versatile writer of all kinds of literature. She grew up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Young received a higher education degree at Southeast Arkansas College. Her first books were poetry books, first entitled Wings of a Poetic Mind, published in 2009, and Songbirds, respectively, in 2009. In 2010, she published Every Now and Then. A year later, she published Grandma's Rose, volumes 1 and 2. And a year later, in 2011, she published another volume of Grandma's Rose. In 2014, she published a very interesting read entitled Hermaphrodite. And again, in 2014, she published A Fatal Affair and Heaven's Last Child. Young has screenplays and other unpublished copyrighted works entitled Our Cats Climb, which is a children's book. She also published Catfight, which is a screenplay. Downtown Vanishes, another screenplay. Our Horse Got Stuck Under the House, which is another screenplay. And Grandpa Benford's Oops, Rooster Butch, which is a comedy. Can you all imagine? As well as other Benford collection of comedy stories. Young's novels and stories have a very realistic basis from her very own experiences in life. Young's Benford stories also have a very hilarious cutting edge of off-the-wall comedy, as she calls it, intended to make you laugh. She has received several academic honors and scholarship awards from the universities that she's attended. Young has also received a number of certificates of achievement, including a modeling and acting diploma. She has overcome many health issues, and as a result of a ruptured appendix, she states that actually she tells a story about how she nearly died, but she overcame that feat as well. The author has given her books to Dr. Maya Angelou, Kel Mitchell from Good Burger, Kirk Franklin, and other celebrities. She has amazing literary works that are loved by many. She has touched the lives of many in a very positive way. So, of course, she's here for you all to talk to her after the session, but she can be contacted at kathyyoung2009@live.com. Without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Cathy Young.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's an honor to be here. First of all, I would like to say that this school has done so much for me. I mean, I love everybody here. I love the people here. The people have helped get so many doors open for me. But I'm here today to elaborate a little bit more about some of my writing, as well as myself. I am a domestic violence survivor, but I am presently in the process of writing about my own story, but I wanted to write about my foundation, which is my mother and my grandmother. So that is the reason why I've written Grandma's Rose. I was praying one day, and I believe that the Spirit touched me and told me to go back to your history, go back to the foundation of you. And so that's exactly what I did. I first started off writing 3 poetry books. I wrote those 3 books. Then I moved on to the novels. I wanted to just dabble around with all sorts of genre because I have a passion for writing. I believe that writing gives you a voice beyond your own voice, because if you write literature and write books, when you're gone, you have a legacy to leave behind, which I think that is so important. And I think that we all as human beings should come here and make the best of life and do everything that we can do. Everyone has a story to tell. And so I wanted to tell my story starting with my mother. My first novel that I written in 2009 and published was Grandma's Rose, Book 1. Grandma's Rose, Book 1 starts, like I said, with my grandmother and my mother Rose. It starts with Rose when she was a baby. Christine, the character Christine in the story, she loved flowers so much that she was praying that she have a daughter and name her after flowers, Rose, which she loved so much. Anyway, my grandmother had my mother, and she named her after the flower which she loved so much, which is Rose. And Rose's life in this story is everything but roses. She go through a lot. She go through the family drama with her sister being jealous, and she go through domestic violence. She meets a man, falls in love, and the story just goes on and on and on. But anyway, Rose also is just like a bird in a cage. She's trying to escape things from her past. She would like to get out of this cage, but because of fear and because of the domestic violence, it kept her in that cage. She've always wanted to escape of her past. She've always wanted to elevate and move up in life, move to another city, but domestic violence hindered her and crippled her, where she was unable to do those things. So I wrote a story about her, giving honor to Rose and giving honor to all the people and women as well as men that may be facing challenges of domestic violence. Grandma's Rose Book 2 goes in more detail about Rose's life and the struggles. It also talks a little bit about me as well, how when my mother was a teenager and she went out to the club and got drunk and she left me abandoned in a car at 2 months old. But because of God, I am here. Police officer found me, and so happened my mother had left her purse in the car with the Holland baby, which was me. And the police officer took me home to my grandmother. My grandmother swore up and down that her daughter and me was in the house, in the room, sleeping. She said I wasn't her grandchild. She said, "That's not my grandchild." The police officer held up my mother's ID. He said, "We don't know if she's missing or what has happened, but this is your grandchild." And my grandmother opened the door and took me, and she cried because I was left abandoned in a car. But I don't have with me today book 3 because I've sold out. I sell out of my books so fast. But the trilogy of book 3, it also talks more about Christine, Rose's mother, trying to get that mother-daughter relationship back that they once had. It's very feministic. Christine's dying wish is to see Rose again before she passes away. So I really don't want to spoil the story, so you have to read it to see if she actually get her wish, because that's her dying wish. But the story unfolds into more plot drama going on. But anyway, Grandma's Rose is one of my great books of healing and forgiveness, because no matter what anyone does to you, no matter what kind of domestic violence or whatever violence you may go through, we all have to learn to forgive. Forgiving is the only way of the bird getting out of the cage. I believe that if you can forgive, you can get released from that cage. So I brought with me today one of Dr. Maya Angelou's poems, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. And Dr. Maya Angelou, she means so much to me simply because before she passed away, I was talking to God. I said, "Lord, I don't know where to send my books to. I keep getting rejection after rejection on my work." I said, "Who do I need to send my work to?" And my dream said, "Contact Dr. Maya Angelou." Thank God I moved on that dream, because 3 months later, she passed. I had no idea she was going to pass. When I sent a sample copy of Grandma's Rose to Kelvin McRae Enterprises, which is Dr. Maya Angelou's president, it was a great Christmas. I mean, I sent it in November, and by December, I received an email from, and you know, I was shocked. I was shocked beyond shocked. I was screaming. I saw that in my email. It says, from Kelvin McRae Enterprises, Dr. Maya Angelou. So I opened it up, and there it was. Kelvin McRae, Dr. Maya Angelou, asked me to send my correspondence to 3 different locations, to her home, as well as to her school, Wake Forest University, all those things. I didn't even know any of that stuff until until then. But anyway, I sent them, and I was shocked again because in January, I received a postcard in the mail. It was better than Christmas. My daughter went to the mailbox, and she was holding up the postcard because it said Maya Angelou really big on the front. I guess she may have autographed it. And I got the postcard, and I opened it, and she had stamped it and autographed it. But last year when I talked to her personal chef, I contacted him, talked to him. He said, I can't believe that she autographed a postcard for you because she never autographed postcards. You most of the time received a stamped postcard from a celebrity, not their autographical signature. And so I said I actually received her autograph, and then I was just appalled that she passed away I believe May the 13th, 3 months later. But I never thought to get online and Google myself or Google her estate, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to go to North Carolina, Winston-Salem, where she lived. But anyway, last year, to my surprise, I was trying to get together a collection of my work to send to someone else. And I found the Grandma's Rose collection, which I don't have the other one with me today. On someone's eBay, somebody was selling my books. Okay, I said, who's selling my books? Because I need to trace it down. I need to find out who's selling my books, because at the moment, my books, they weren't moving. Sometimes when it seemed like God isn't working, He is. So I got online, and I found out that someone was selling my book, and inside of the book, they opened it. I have it on my phone, and they had a yellow sticker inside that said, Dr. Maya Angelou's Library. I was like, oh my God, because most celebrities that I have been sending my work to, like Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey, they would send your work back because they don't accept solicited material. So you cannot send your work to a celebrity because it's a protection thing. They're not going to receive your work. But to my surprise, she actually received 3 boxes that I sent to the 3 different locations. They never came back. So I was like, I always ask God, I said, Lord, I wonder where did the books go since she passed? But her personal chef, Don McCullen, I contacted him on eBay, and I wasn't able to get his phone number, but eBay told me they couldn't give his phone number or give his personal information, but they said that set up an email account with eBay and you will be able to converse with him through your email account. And so I set it up, and I contacted him, and immediately he contacted me back, and I questioned him about the books, and he said, I bought those books at Maya Angelou's estate sale when she passed away. And he said these books were actually a collection of Maya Angelou's books. Maya Angelou personally put my books on her personal bookshelf. So they were in Dr. Maya Angelou's personal library. So evidently, before she passed, she must have gotten a chance to read Grandma's Rose, because she sent me the postcard, and plus she thought enough of the books to keep them, because the books are relation to everything. If I were to bind them together, they would be 86 chapters. They relate to Christine has a sister dying of cancer. Christine's daughter is going through domestic violence abuse. Christine loses her husband, so she becomes a widow. She's raising all these kids. It relates to country life, the good old-fashioned life, but it also relates to today, because some of the same things are happening today. And it relates to death, too, because Christine is getting ready to die, and her longing wish is to see her daughter Rose. And so Maya Angelou must have related to her because of the things Maya Angelou was going through. And so I guess they were close to her heart. But since then, Maya Angelou's chef, I got a chance to tell him about how I've written screenplays and all other kind of literature. He said, I am inviting you to the Black National Theater Festival in Winston-Salem. He said this is one of Maya Angelou's beloved place that she always walked around, her and other celebrity friends walked around as a regular person. He said, if you come here, I guarantee you, you're going to meet some other celebrities that you can give your books to and push your work, because they will be there, and you'll be able to interact with them, because it's a small community place and stuff like that. So I'm going to Winston-Salem in July. I'm scheduled to go, and so many people come there. He says it's a spectacular event that lasts the whole week. Most of the hotels are already sold out. And so I have a poem by Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dip his wings in the orange sun rays, and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of the things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard. On the distant hill for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the singing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. His tune is heard. So, with that being said, I thank you all for your time. But also I have this book I didn't mention, Grandpa Benford's Rooster. Butch is a comedy. It's the Benford comedy. I've been working so hard these past 2 weeks. I recently done 6 Benford movies. I pushed myself to do all of them. They're comedy. Some people may like them and some people may not. Then I have another book, Fatal Affair, Heaven's Last Child, which is the first, it's 2 stories in one. The first story, Fatal Affair, Heaven's Last Child, is a love story that goes wrong. And I also have Heaven's Last Child, which is about a mother, a single parent. She has 4 daughters, and her daughters, they don't have a good relationship at all. But she ends up having a son, and he's the best thing that ever happened to her. And so my other book is sold out. I didn't get a chance to bring it. I have so many other collections of work. But maybe if you all have enjoyed what you've heard today, you can go online and support me. Or either you can contact me by email or phone and support me. And my books are located on Amazon.com as well as Barnes & Nobles. I thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Young. What an honor it must have been to find out that your books were on Dr. Maya Angelou's shelf. Any questions?
Yes.
Any questions?
How do you schedule your time in writing
Oh my God.
to make that time?
Is it? Can you all hear me? Oh my God, I make time for it. Actually, I quit my. Hold on one second. Actually, I quit my job. I'm so addicted to writing, just like a drug head is addicted to drugs. I'm addicted to writing because writing is my life. My kids, they grew up on me, they all moved out, and right now I'm presently single. So I said, Lord, I have to do something with my time. How can I make my life count, and how can I make my time count? So to occupy my time, I just write, and my writing vision kicks in, and it just flows so well with me. But a number of people have asked me, how come I haven't written about my own life? But I'm working on that. It's so much easier. It was so much easier for me to look from the outside and write about someone else's life or write about what my mother went through, because I remember it so well as a child, all the domestic violence abuse. But my schedule is very tight. As you can see, as thin as I am, I just go. Sometimes I don't even eat. I'm so busy writing and trying to juggle school work, writing, but I slimmed my time down to only working 2 days a week. So just working 2 days a week has helped me and has enabled me to be able to spend the rest of the 4 or 5 days of writing and crafting my work and telling what I want to say. Any other questions? You had a question?
How are you publishing? Are you self-publishing or how are you publishing?
Yes, I am self-publishing, and self-publishing, I hate it because self-publishing, you have to take your money and invest, and a lot of times the company beats you out of money. I have been beaten out of $10,000 or more. Self-publishing is very difficult. It's very difficult. I wanted to publish my book so bad because we all want to, you know, I was like anyone else. I wanted to be an author, and nobody was picking me up or looking at my work or telling me how to go about doing it. So I learned the hard way. I did it through self-publishing companies, 3 or 4 self-publishing companies, and I've spent tons of money. And with self-publishing companies, you have to push your own work, and you have to find a legitimate company that is a truly legitimate self-publishing company, because people will lie to you and take your money and you never hear from them. That's the thing about self-publishing. It's always good to know someone who has self-published so you can maybe take the route and use their company just to get your feet out there as an author and as a writer. But I would like to get off into where someone like Random House or Schuster picked me up, but that is very, very hard. It's very hard. You just about have to know someone in the industry, because the writing industry is just like the music industry. It's just like the movie industry. You're going to get doors slammed in your face. You know, you're going to be told all kinds of crazy stuff. But I have such a zeal not to give up and not to quit. And so no matter how many, I've been writing for like 10, I forgot to tell you, I've been writing for like 10 years, almost going on 11. I have not given up on my dream of being a famous writer, but I'm working toward that, and doors are slowly opening, and like what I mentioned earlier, the biggest door opened when Dr. Maya Angelou picked up my work. But I also got a chance to meet actor Kelley from Good Burger. He came to Arkansas, which our church, they begged him to come, and they had to pay him a lot of money to come because he was not coming from Hollywood. He came, and me and some other people and students from here, we took an individual picture with Kelley. Kelley has my work. Tyler Perry has my books. Some of the other actors, they have my books, because every time actors and celebrities have came, I've pushed myself. I've pushed my work. I got my work out there. So I'm just waiting right now on that big break, but in order to get that big break, I may have to get out there and perform, just like what I've been doing. I've performed all this week and all last week, and I've filmed movies. Now I have 6 independent movies. So I'm a go-getter. I have a really strong zeal, and also I am the first generation in my family out of 9 kids to actually go as high as I have in academic success, as well as in just everything, because I'm a go-getter. I was taught very well. I was taught never to be lazy, don't wait on nobody to do it for you. You know, you got to take the initiative to get out there and do it, even when it seems like nothing's happening. So I would like to encourage you. I'm not really trying to discourage you from self-publishing, but I personally don't like the self-publishing, but sometimes that's the first and only way to go right now, just to get your story told. But then once you get to going, your next stories, it would be good to do a nice query letter and try to get them to a bigger company, or either, well, what I've been informed and told, that I need to go to California and attend some of the big events, like the big festivals. That way I can actually meet them, just like Dr. Wheat said. Networking is so important, because sometimes you can email your work to them and it's trashed. You're never going to hear from them. So I am in the process of traveling and networking. I think North Carolina is going to be my first step, because Dr. Maya Angelou is part of my foundation in makeup, since I actually was invited, and that I know the event is going to be a legitimate event because a celebrity, her chef, he's a celebrity, told me that this is where you need to come. I am going to tell my story one day because I was married at 18 to a man who was 34, and he was a supposedly minister, and he was abusive, you know. But I want to tell it in a way where it can heal and help someone else. So I would like to tell it in my books, but I had been embarrassed about it for a long time, and for a long time I had been embarrassed about talking about how my mother was abused so much to where my brother used to call my dad the boogeyman. He never called him dad. And so, you know, I was embarrassed about a lot of things like that, but I found the courage to get up and talk about it because my story is everybody's story. It's meant to be shared so that it can touch and heal and help someone else. But like my mother and like my mother, the domestic violence abuse, it eventually stopped. But I just had to get away because I married an older gentleman, and he was very, very controlling. He idolized me as if I was a god or something. When I was a teenager, I was very beautiful, and he didn't want to let me out the house. And my oldest girl, she's 25, she said, "Mom, you're telling everybody else's story, but why don't you tell yours?" I told her, I will. I'm getting around to it soon as I get through school. It's taken 10 years for me to, you know, just tell everything and keep the ball juggling of school and education. I push so hard for success, you know, that I already know that I can't, I mean, if you push for success, and no matter if somebody tell you no, you can't do it, slam the doors in your face, there's going to be a door, there's going to be a light shining that's going to eventually come open for you. So that's what I'm pressing toward, but I'll tell my story too, and y'all will get a chance to read my story as a teen. And then also I've heard other people tell me that if I talk about how I was pregnant at 14, I was a teen pregnant mom. When I got pregnant as a teen, I went through a lot. I went through hell and high water, but I made it through. I ended up having to go to a teen mom home because my mother was pissed, because she did not want me to repeat the lifestyle of poverty that she already had. She thought a lot of me. She wanted me to really, really be something. I said, "Mom, I'm still going to do it. I just made a mistake." And so my story, the teen story, so many people, I've shared it sort of a little bit with people, and they really, really like it. They said, well, if you tell the teen story, people have told me that would be really helpful as well. How I overcome, how I still went back to school, I still got my education, and how I am still doing everything, everything, regardless of having the babies. I pressed for success so that I could have had a better life for my children, and so that they wouldn't repeat, and my grandchildren, next generations, would repeat the same mistakes. So I'm in the process of doing more writing, y'all will hear it, and more movies. I think what I'm going to do with that one instead of writing a novel, because sometimes books don't sell as well, I would encourage people to try to also get off into writing a screenplay. Learn how to write a play where a producer, an agent can buy your work, and they may want to get some people to perform it. So that'll be really good. So because sometimes if you write a movie first and people see the movie, people love movie and action. If they see the movie, and then it may boost your book sales. So thank you.